Hi everyone, number one Marmaduke fan here. It's new comic book day, and I had one heck of a new comic book day. I'm fresh after publishing my most recent episode of Feminism and Art, and I got animated. When I was on my way to the comic book shop, I took a wrong turn and ended up in a part of town I'd never been in before, and I found some really beautiful buildings to photograph, and I found a creepy old Christmas tree shop with some great creepy sculptures of Santa that I photographed. I think I might use those for a video later to do a drawing contest to honor our boy Ethan Van Sciver YouTube channel, Comic Pro Secrets, since Ethan loves drawing creepy Santa Clauses so much. But then when I got to the comic book store, I met a really interesting dad who loves comic books. We talked Renaissance art. We ended up talking politics and religion, all the things that you're not supposed to talk about in a bar. It was a live summa tangentum, summa spoilerum, summa triggerum conversation in the comic book store, and he gave me some recommendations. So of his recommendations, like he gave me a whole bunch of trade back and hardcover recommendations, but he recommended this one really strongly, so I picked it up because it's a floppy variant cover. So this is the first Valiant comic I have bought based on his recommendation of the artist and how it's all digitally painted in a consistent way. He thought I'd really dig that. So the comic book store owner overheard some of our conversation, and then he saw I picked up a Valiant, and then just kind of asked me, well, what do you think of Valiant? And I kind of said, well, I've never bought any of it, and I'm not that interested in it. I'm kind of scared, of spending another $100 on it if I like it. And so this is the comic book store owner who is a big Valiant fan, and I knew he was a big Valiant fan based on just how much he talked it up. And then my comic book store owner gave me the best pitch ever for Valiant, and he gave me loaned me two of his personal copies of two Valiant books he thought would get me started. So today we're going to talk about the need for comic book stores and why my comic book store owner is a good example of what the business owners I'm sure are doing, what they need to do, and why I don't think we can just go digital. So part of the decline in sales, where you could say that's a quality problem of too many gimmicks, too many changes to the books and the characters. And then the other argument is, well, we're living in the digital world. Ink on paper, that's a thing of the past. It's like the candle was replaced by the light bulb. This is going to go away eventually, and we're all going to be digital. We're all going to be online. And there may be a good argument to that, but human beings still have hands, and we still like to hold things in our hands. So even though I think it's true that digital is much cheaper and much more competitive than physical, I don't think the aspect of you holding a comic book in your hand and flipping through it and be able to hand it to your friend and say, hey, look at this great comic book I got. I don't think that's ever going to go away. I think it's just going to shrink as digital comics become more and more prominent. So does that mean that comic book stores are doomed? Like so many brick and mortar bookstores, Blockbuster, they've gone into the past. Are comic book stores next? And the reason I think we need comic book stores to survive, even if digital comics become the major vehicle of comic books, is that the comic book store owners act as an intro to these worlds, and they act as salesmen to the casually interested person who wants to get into comics. So I had zero interest in Valiant. I had no desire to spend more money on these comics. He gave it a good pitch for why I should like it. I said, well, one of the reasons I left superhero comics was way too many confusing events and, the universe falling apart and coming back together. I just had some characters I like, but I hate the Marvel universe. I hate the DC universe. I hate the time travel continuity nonsense of it, but I like the characters and I like their adventures. So he made the argument that the Valiant universe is consistent. It's straightforward. Death means something in the Valiant universe. So these are big fat problems. They're long-term problems that both DC and Marvel have. Death not meaning much. Events not meaning much. Changes not meaning much, because they can always change it back. But his pitch for the Valiant universe was that it is consistent. It's created by a team with a purpose, and it's created kind of on their time and on their own budget. So that was good pitch number one. And then good pitch number two was, he praised the story. When he steps back and look at the total effect, he loves the total effect. He loves the individual issues. So a very passionate pitch for reading Valiant comics from him. And then he supplemented it by loaning me his personal copy to read and give back to him. So I'm going to read these first, since he was so kind as to do that for me, and then return them to him and tell him what I think. And I will do a review of my introduction to the Valiant universe as recommended by my comic book store owner to me as a person who has never read a Valiant comic. We're going to give it a shot. And this one as well. So now let's get on to my DC and Marvel buys. Climax Camel, one of the most memey issues ever. I'm going to make this a physical prize for a future video. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make joke comics prizes for great memes, something funny that makes me laugh. I'll get you a joke comic and a drawing as your prize. I'm going to cash in the digital code for this because I wanted to have the digital code in case I read it or reviewed it later. But this physical comic will be a prize sometime down the road. And then I picked up one of each of DC Comics with digital codes. Because I give most of my comic books away, the digital code is a big selling point to me because I don't want to buy a physical comic unless I'm ready to keep it forever. I'm in a dinky apartment, so most of the comics I buy, I want to just read them, give them away. But then if I have the digital code, I can come back and read them later. Even though I like the physical comic, the digital code is a big selling point to me to support my comic book shop. So DC, please, more of this, and I will probably buy a lot more DC books. I restrained myself. I stopped myself from buying a whole bunch of digital code comics and getting disappointed. I'm going to give each of these series one shot to impress me. So every series that DC did that they had digital codes, I bought one comic book from it. If it's one kick-ass book, then that'll convince me to give the series a chance and read a bunch more. If it's a lame pace for the trade slog, then I'm going to give the series a break after that. This one, I got the variant of Doomsday Clock because I'm digging it so far, as recommended by our boy Zach. So I don't think I'll review things that the bigger channels have covered unless I've got a fresh spin on it, or if I can hone in on maybe one artistic point. I've got a theory for a germ of an idea for a series called Artist Spotlight, where it'd be a little bit like the history of comic books, but it would be talking about the history of the creators rather than the history of the characters or the universes, which I think would be interesting. I mean, lots of people talk about the history of comic books and the people who make them, but I would kind of like hone in with a narrow focus on the artists, the history of the artists before they made this, after they made this, the obscure artists who may not be as big a name as John Romita or Jack Kirby. So that's something I want to do, and that's something I think I could do that's a little different from what the bigger channels are doing. Old Man Hawkeye, yeah, I like Old Man Logan. I'll give it a shot. I'm going to add Phoenix Resurrection to my pull list, thanks to our boy Zach's recommendation. I don't know what this is. Spider-Man Master Plan #1. You know what? The thing that sold this for me is it's got a Steve Ditko era comic in the back. So no matter what, I'm going to love that Steve Ditko comic, even if I hate the regular story. So come on, my boy Spidey. Please, let this be the end of Friends Spidey. I don't have much hope, but a guy can dream, can he? I read a few of these and didn't quite dig it. It's fun, but pace for the trade. But I'm going to give it one more chance. Here's one of my DC buys. So I like Aquaman okay. I'll see this through to the end. Oh, they got a new artist. Okay, well, we'll see how that compares to the last batch. It's okay. Yeah, like I said, digital code, yeah, whatever. If I don't like it, then I'll roast it and check it out later. My boy Batman, the annual has a digital code. I picked it right up. My comic book store owner says this is one of the best things of the year, so I'm stoked. I've seen a few memes saying that Chinese all-new Superman is okay, that he's not just a distaff character, but he is kind of doing some interesting stuff in his own right. He's actually paying homage to the real Superman. So whatever. We're going to give this a shot. Going to give it a shot. Look at this cover. I don't think I'll do a full cover critique. I don't like everything about it, but boy, do I love Rembrandtian Renaissance style drawing. And I sometimes think that doesn't work well in a comic book because comic books are such a brisk storytelling medium. But for covers, boy, I love this kind of thing. So I will save this for a comic book cover critique in the future and point out the few little things I didn't like and the techniques being used and why I generally just love this. Trinity number 11. Wow. Solid. Okay. Oh yeah, Titans. What's the difference between Teen Titans and Titans, guys? Titans has Dick Grayson Nightwing, and Teen Titans has Damian Wayne, but also has Starfire. Is Starfire still a hot item with Dick Grayson since the reboots, or was that all retconned and now Starfire's single? I don't know, guys. So let me know if you are a geek for these things, and let me know where to go read to catch up with Rebirth. I'd appreciate that kind of guidance. Teen Titans Special with our boy Deathstroke. I've heard of the Lazarus contract. I thought that was like an old story from the 80s or so. So I'm guessing Rebirth is maybe retelling it or retconning it and doing their version of it. I'll find out. Superwoman? I don't know, but I get a digital code, so I'll give it a shot. What the heck? Supergirl? Nice painterly, kind of the good artist on DeviantArt style cover, but still, she's Supergirl. She's beautiful. It's sort of soft and airy and idealized. Yeah, I dig it. Super Sons. Oh, I'm loving this so much, guys. I'll see if I have... Just Some Guy already has a great video talking about the art influences of this, so I think he's done a good job covering generally the style of this series, but I still feel like I could hone in and get a few theses out of this book that haven't been done to death by others, so we'll see. Oh, my old school comic books. So, King Conan, mightiest monarch of a time-lost land, free. The Punisher, The Punisher Armory, free. I love these old ads. These are going to be time capsules. And Excalibur. Oh, look, it's that's got to be Shadowcat when she looked like the cute girl next door. My crush. Mwah. Love Shadowcat. Oh, good, I got Venom for Venom Inc., right? Yeah, Darth Vader. Every issue's been good so far. Strong. Few dumb mistakes from the editors. Stop sipping the milkshakes and start editing, guys. But excellent comic. Very strong. Excellent treatment of the character of Darth Vader. What we got? Red Hood and the Outlaws. Recently added to my pull list. Zach hasn't checked it out yet. Keep tweeting Zach to check this out, because I think this is a strong series. Much better than a lot of Marvel books I've been reading. And good art, good characters. I'm just in this. I am in this series. Ragman, new Ragman came out. I don't get the digital code for this, but I've heard such good things about it. I'm going to give it a shot even without that digital code as a bonus. New Old Man Logan. Mr. Miracle. I'm actually behind on Mr. Miracle in my pull list because I was reading all the roasty 50-cent comic books. And I've got a controversial opinion about issue 3. I thought it was a bit lazy. So I've been avoiding doing Mr. Miracle reviews so I wouldn't be like the Diversity Comics channel with the most unpopular movie reviews ever and lose, all 100 of my 100 subs. Thank you guys, by the way. I'm so happy I broke the 100 mark. So onward and upward from here. The alternate cover of Mr. Miracle, and then goodbye to the gorgeous art of Gurihiru. No, wait, part 1. So it's not over yet. There's a few left, but it'll be a sad goodbye to the gorgeous art of Gurihiru, but overall Gwenpool has not had focus, and it has not committed to giving her stakes and to giving her heroism. I saw an ad a while ago, and it's like everything clicked for me. I kept saying about Gwenpool, well, she should be a hero. She should have stakes. She should have normalcy. And I saw an ad that pretty much said, oh, she's the worst role model ever. And what clicked for me is that the art of this character, the Gurihiru art, says fun, bouncy, cute, Disney princess superhero for girls, but the marketing and the stories are edgy, immoral, anti-hero. And that, I think, was the flaw of the character. It was like towards the end, they floated the idea of her being a heroic character and not an anti-hero. And I think that was an instance of the writers and the staff at Marvel being a bit tone deaf and missing out on what comic book readers like. Yes, there's room for anti-heroes. There's room for dark and edgy characters. But everything about this character says found fun, bouncy teenage girl hero. And I hope that after a break, maybe if she's a guest star, make Gwenpool a hero. Give her normalcy. Superman needs Lois Lane. Batman needs Dick Grayson and Alfred. She needs a supporting cast, and she needs heroism so that I can look at this, give it to a little boy or little girl, and be confident that it's not like little kids can't handle any violence or action in their stories, but the Gwenpool of this story is not a role model purposefully. That's something I think she should be, to give her long-standing appeal, and to let the meme popularity isn't always going to last forever. But clever meme humor and some cool time travel shenanigans are cool if the character is heroic and we can admire the virtue and the heroism of the character. She needs that. Maybe I'll do a post-mortem on Gwenpool when I go back and read the old issues, so I can get a feel for the total effect. But that's my impression of reading the last few issues of Gwenpool, starting at issue 16. And Cable, still fun, still 90s, not as good as Yildiray Cinar, who is an art hero in my book and will be forever for those excellent Cable issues, but I'm still enjoying it, still good action, exciting. Yeah, that is my comic book pile. I love you guys. First from me, I think, will be the Valiant books, and then from there, onward and upward. I'm #1 Marmaduke fan. Why don't you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll have some giveaways coming up soon. Catch you later.